Oh, okay, so this is real quick. I'll give you a little brief rundown. There's so much I can say because it's all pending litigation, but regarding what happened with me, I am the one that sat there and survived these CEOs trying to set me up to have me killed over there in Kern Valley State Prison. They've had a track record of murders, inmate deaths in their facility, but they all had one thing in common. It was the person they intended to hit, the person they intended to die, died. I'm the only person that I know of this fact that I was able to survive their attempt at my life. When I came in my cell, I had already went through 3 levels of security because I was in welding. So you have to go through a whole process when you're behind the gate where they strip you out. They put all your clothes through the metal detector and make you go through the metal detector, and then they give you your property back after inspecting it. You get on, then there's another security gate that they have to open to let you even walk onto the yard. Because the day of my incident, there was a riot that happened on the yard between the MCs and the numbers. And when that happened, everyone was under escort. So they had to take us in cuffs. The CEOs themselves, these officers, cuffed me up and escorted me all the way to my cell. There is no time whatsoever where I was not under police escort, that I was not under scrutiny by these individuals that work there at that facility. When the incident happened with me, is when they heard absolutely silence. When they heard absolutely silence, absolute quietness, the side door opens up. Bam, cracks open. Here comes the CEO who's been working here for 27 years and knows, seen everything, done everything. They go and they're executing what you call a med pass, right? So they're passing out medications. It's not even the time that they passed out medications. We go and
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
we retrieve our medications. And they come to my door. From there, from the body cam footage, you hear him. You hear me screaming, telling this guy, I'm fucking, help me. My cellie tries to kill me. My cellie tries to kill me. Help me. The guy looks at me. I'm covered in blood. There's blood all over my window. There's blood in every single fucking aspect of that cell. The guy looks at me. He does not say anything besides getting on the radio and calling not for help, not urgent care, not 911, but his partner. He gets on his microphone, calls his partner. His partner comes. When I see the body cam footage from his partner, the OG is putting his hand across his neck like, hey, hold on, like knock it off, like, and shaking his head back and forth and telling him, no, it's Perez. They're all cut up. I take that to believe that it's not my cellie who is alive, but that it was Perez who's alive. And be careful for what you say, because this motherfucker is alive. And so his partner, and still no impressive pad alarm, their personal alarm devices called PAD. That's a little acronym. They're trained. When they see that, they're supposed to put it. Even if you sit here and you say you have chest pains, they have to go and press that alarm immediately. Instead, you sit there and you see a whole cell covered in blood. You see someone, my nose was cut off. Like I had half my nose hanging off. I'm bleeding from my back. I'm bleeding from my face. I'm bleeding from my arms. My hair's sticking up because of how much blood was on me. And the dude comes and he looks in there. His partner looks in there, does not press his pad alarm, but instead goes straight to the staff restroom. Look in the staff restroom. He scans it because you see the body camera moving from left to right, scanning everything in there, then closes the door. Once he closes the door, the MTA that was with the initial responding officer is already walking down the hall, shaking her head, This guy comes, and again, he still doesn't press his pad alarm. The initial responding cop did not press his pad alarm still. It was the tower who is not even responsible for the floor movements and what's happening in the building who presses his pad alarm. Once the pad alarm is pressed, that means that the outside ambulance comes and responds immediately because there's an urgent care emergency. The guy comes, he looks at me, looks at his partner, they cuff me up, and they take me out of my cell. They set me down on the table in the cell, and you can see from the video, and this is all public knowledge. You can go ahead and file for that body cam footage, and they have to release it under the Freedom of Information Act. And all you individual investigative reporters that have personal YouTube pages, TikToks, where you broadcast that, you can request that from CDCR, and they have to give you this footage. And you will see in how bad of a state I walked out of there. So when all this is said and done, they didn't know what to do with me. They did not understand how their little plan to set me up backfired on them. Because when they pulled everything out of the cell, they found a knife that was 7.5 inches long. 7.5 inches long, a flat, not some quick little inmate manufactured weapon where you put a little plastic handle on a piece of metal. This thing literally took hours to make. If you would have to cut your locker, it takes about 21 hours if you were to use the regular means in which people cut metal. There is no way in hell that someone would be able to do that living with the next person because there's not enough hours in the day to do that. After all of that was said and done, and that's what I'll leave it at that, these people were scrambling to try to cover up what they did, to try to cover up the fact that they just fucked up, and they didn't understand the caliber of individual I am. Like, motherfuckers raised from the street, it's a different breed. Like, I do not die easy. And I had something to live for. I had my wife, I had my kids, I had my family. I wasn't going to just give my life away. And so that whole incident that had happened with me is a highlighted example of a pattern of behavior and practice in Kern Valley where people are utilizing other inmates to try to carry out their will. Because the individual that happened to be working that day was the same individual that I had just got into a confrontation with the CO a couple of weeks prior to that, and literally punked him in front of every single inmate there because he wants to bother me when my privacy curtain's up and I'm trying to have quality time with my wife. So I got out of my cell and I approached him the way that you would approach anybody, and you dress him down. And I told that motherfucker, you want to be a weirdo? You want to be a creep? You want to harass me when my privacy curtain's up? Like, I do not appreciate that. I do not take that lightly. So he went and this officer, his name's Ramos, he sat there and reached out to another Mexican inmate because I'm raza. So he wants to reach out to him and say, hey, check your boy, man. Well, everyone knows Trigger is crazier than a motherfucker. They're not going to sit there and fucking get at me. The dude straight up told the CO, like, hey, Trigger's his own man. Like, I can't tell him shit. So knowing that he couldn't have other inmates pressure me, this is why they fucking resorted to the tactics in which they did. They've been trying to cover up this shit since day one. I have never even been prescribed my whole incident packet report. They say that there's 100 and something photographs. I've never seen one of them. They have reports that aren't even filed in my whole incident report. The DA, what DA in his right mind is going to sit there and receive a case in which they know that these CEOs sat there and set somebody up to get killed. And I'm sitting here pending litigation. I'm sitting here stuck in the hole until March 2026 as of this moment for literally surviving these individuals' attempt to take my life. You don't believe it? You don't have to believe it. You can look at it for yourself because the pattern of practice and the history of inmate deaths in that facility speaks for itself. I'm the only one that was able to survive that. I'm the only one here living and breathing to be able to speak about that. As soon as all this litigation is done, I'll be able to speak more about exactly what had happened. But this is a good reference point to anybody that has any investigative personalities and they want to look into that. Check it out. because I guarantee you're going to find everything that I'm saying to be substantiated and to be true. That's it.